In July 1977, at a carefree Midland backyard barbecue hosted by mutual friends, George W. Bush, the son of then Vice President George H.W. Bush and a young oilman, met Laura Lane Welch, a shy yet intelligent schoolteacher and librarian. They had actually lived just blocks apart as children and even crossed paths in junior high, but had never spoken until that sunny afternoon when George, already smitten, was so struck by Laura's blue eyes and calm presence that he later told her, "I felt heart palpitations the moment I saw you," and she remembered him as cute and talkative, a fitting foil to her love of listening. Their first official date was at a miniature golf course, and within 6 weeks their connection had blossomed into a serious romance, prompting George to propose in September 1977 at Laura's rental house in Austin, a proposal she promptly accepted without hesitation because she knew he was going to ask. 3 months after their meeting and just a day after Laura's 31st birthday, on November 5, 1977, they married in the First United Methodist Church in Midland, the same place where Laura had been baptized, with only about 75 guests in attendance, a modest and heartfelt ceremony. They honeymooned in Cozumel, Mexico, but almost immediately joined the campaign trail as George launched an unsuccessful bid for Congress in 1978, with Laura by his side delivering her first stump speech despite her earlier promise never to make a campaign speech. Over the next years, they settled into life in Texas, George in the oil business and Laura occasionally teaching. Yet they longed for a family and struggled for 3 years to conceive until, in November 1981, Laura, after developing life-threatening preeclampsia, gave birth by emergency C-section to fraternal twins, Barbara Pierce Bush and Jenna Welch Bush. The birth profoundly impacted George, who became a devoted father and soon quit drinking alcohol in 1986, a change he has credited largely to Laura's gentle ultimatum, "It's me or the bottle," a kind of turning point that helped him embrace his faith and family. Laura continued to balance family life with community service as First Lady of Texas from 1995 to 2000, championing literacy initiatives, raising funds for libraries, broadcasting support for teachers and children, and quietly smoothing George's rough edges. As George ascended to the presidency in 2001, Laura became First Lady of the United States, focusing on education, women's and children's health, spearheading the National Book Festival, advocating for literacy, breast cancer awareness, and reaching out as the First Lady to deliver the weekly presidential radio address, using her platform to speak for Afghan women after September 11th. George often refers to asking Laura to marry him as the best decision of his life, and has praised her as someone who understood him deeply, drawing out his best qualities, nourishing his faith, and sustaining him through politics. Laura, in turn, has described their bond as rooted in lifelong friendship, common values and affection. Two souls who felt they had grown up in parallel lives, and were meant to find each other. They have maintained a devoted family life, greeting each morning with coffee, walking their dogs and cats, sharing quiet moments at their Prairie Chapel Ranch, familiarly called the Western White House, and celebrating their marriage, which has now spanned nearly 5 decades. Their twin daughters have since grown into accomplished women. Barbara as a global health activist and mother, Jenna as an educator, author, Today Show co-host and mother of 3, reflecting the values instilled in them by their parents, who continue to share an affectionate, faithful, purposeful marriage built on love, shared faith and partnership. From the moment their twin daughters Barbara and Jenna went off to carve their own paths, George and Laura embraced a new pace of life framed by art, family, and shared purpose. George discovered a passion for painting, capturing portraits of immigrants, veterans, even his wife, publishing 2 acclaimed books, Portraits of Courage and Out of Many One, with exhibitions held at the Bush Presidential Center in Dallas. He recalls painting Laura's portrait, which he later destroyed, his daughters, and immigrant heroes, describing his creative journey as a way to connect with people and send subtle messages about unity. Laura cheered him on, enjoying how his art brought depth to their post-White House life. With the nest emptying, both Bushes kept busy, Laura penning her memoir Spoken from the Heart in 2010 and advocating for literacy, women's rights and same-sex marriage. viewing it as a generational issue and supporting equal rights for committed couples. George, meanwhile, embraced retirement as a continual journey. Mountain biking, golfing, promoting scholarship funds through Veterans Affairs, and traveling overseas, though he insists he never truly retires. Evenings at their Prairie Chapel ranch became sacred, dinners together, quiet walks, working jigsaw puzzles, watching detective shows, or sneaking in a few rounds of rummikub when the grandkids visited. The arrival of grandchildren, Jenna's 3, Mila, Poppy, Hal, and Barbara's 2, Cora, Georgia, and Edward, brought new joy. George became known for spoiling them with candy and video games. Laura earned the affectionate nickname Mimi Maxwell. The grandchildren adore their grandparents, George as Jeef, the fun-loving painter, and Laura the gentle guardian. Jenna and Barbara have shared that Cora, Georgia, appears both creative like grandpa and gentle like grandma. Behind the scenes, the Secret Service entourage sometimes embarrasses preteens like 11-year-old Mila, but the family navigates it with humor and love. Their love, once ignited in a Midland backyard in 1977, remains vibrant today, marked by mutual support, shared faith, and shared passions, from art to activism to family bonds. They continue to support causes close to their hearts: global health, literacy, veterans, often side by side, demonstrating that love deepens, not diminishes with time. Even in quieter years, Laura and George are active, present, connected. Proof that the best decision of his life, as Bush has said, keeps blooming even after nearly 50 years. Each morning, without fail, George rises early, heads downstairs, and quietly brews Laura's coffee just the way she likes it. An act of love he's committed to every single morning, even for their daughters when they visit. Once the ritual is done, he picks up the phone, not to journalists or aides, but to his oldest friend, Donald Evans, with whom he checks in faithfully every day. These small, steady habits, coffee calls, anchor a marriage built on thoughtfulness. Their shared love of art brought a new dimension to their bond. At 78, George unveiled A Shining City on the Hilltop, a collection of 35 oil paintings depicting scenes around SMU and the Bush Center, exhibited through October 2025 in Dallas. Laura supports his endeavors, often attending exhibitions by his side, and praises his dedication to capturing the spirit of people and places dear to them. The family continues to grow. Their granddaughter Mila recently celebrated turning 12, and George painted her cat Maisie's portrait as a gift. Proof not only of his artistic skill but of the closeness he shares with his grandkids. Laura, Mimi Maxwell, left a sweet comment on Instagram wishing she could have celebrated in person. Other grandchildren, Poppy, Hal, Cora, Georgia, Edward, maintain weekend vigil with grandpa's games, grandma's hugs, and the Secret Service occasionally peeking in to keep watch. Even beyond family, George and Laura remain united in purpose. Together, they've built the Bush Institute into a hub of global influence, championing education, global health, continuing the legacy of PEPFAR, women's rights, freedom, and entrepreneurship. Their yearly global women's summits host first ladies and leaders from around the world to strategize on empowering girls and improving healthcare. Laura remains deeply involved, answering every letter sent to the former president and responding to health and education queries from across the globe. She meditates on life through letters, memoirs, and connections formed over years of service. On weekends at their Preston Hollow home, Laura finds peace in yoga with longtime friends and a stack of books, often sharing titles with George. Their latest favorites include Ron Chernow's Grant and Amor Towles's A Gentleman in Moscow. At his ranch in Crawford and home in Dallas, George keeps his body and mind active. Mountain biking trails, rounds of golf, long walks, jigsaw puzzles, and detective shows on the couch with Laura. It's ordinary moments that become extraordinary in their quiet mastery. He also tends to his heart health, having received a stent in 2013, a reminder of Laura's unwavering care. Their marriage, the one that sparked at a Devil's Food Cake barbecue in Midland, continues to thrive not on grand gestures, but on thoughtful morning routines, laughter shared over puzzles and painting sessions, and a genuine partnership that spans decades. At nearly 50 years together, they still greet each other with a kiss, share glad laughter over coffee, and support each other's joys. George with his brush, Laura with her pen and voice, demonstrating that true love endures through simple, loving acts every single day. As the sun filters through the Texas oak trees, George is at it again. Another morning brewing Laura's coffee just the way she likes, a ritual Jenna describes as tiny things make a huge difference. After breakfast, George picks up the phone for another ritual, a daily good morning call to his lifelong friend Donald Evans, honoring decades of trust and laughter, an echo of care that Laura finds hilarious in her husband's self-deprecating style. Within the quiet of their Dallas home or the hilltop at Prairie Chapel Ranch, creative and community pursuits define their days. Laura, always the quiet force, continues in literacy initiatives, eyes still lighting up over ABCs and bedtime storylines, her life a tribute to teaching and empowerment. She still responds thoughtfully to letters, relishing connections forged through years of service. George walks beside her to events at the Bush Center, or he turns inward at his easel, bringing new oil paintings to light. His tribute to values, veterans, immigrants, gardens, libraries, as beacons of unity, often inspired by Laura's quiet encouragement. Their marriage, so often spotlighted in history books, continues to bloom through normal moments. They laugh when George reminisces about bumping the garage because he was listening to Laura's feedback after a speech, and she gently confessed it wasn't very good. Inside jokes, dinners on the back porch, jigsaw puzzles and detective series on the TV. These small acts celebrate the lively dance of daily life. Their daughters and grandchildren, Barbara, Jenna, Mila, Poppy, Hal, Cora, Edward, are the living arc of their story, love handed down, gently and joyfully. They protect their family's space, yet find humor in public life. Jenna recalls Mila's mortified realization of Secret Service escorts. "Are you humiliated?" she asked, while the siblings teased, "You better act great." It's that spirit of playful humility that Lisa from their lived life instilled. Through all the fame and criticism, Laura's modest wisdom and George's deep faith bind them. He describes their marriage as a walk of faith and devotion, not spotlighted moments, and credits Laura's partnership as what makes their journey work. She sees him as the remarkable man who brought joy and workability to their marriage and to the office of First Lady, and he returns the praise, calling her the greatest First Lady ever. Today, as twilight falls on their long life together, the love that began at a backyard cookout still grows, through gentle routines, laughter-tinged mornings, creativity, service, family, and generosity. And each day they reaffirm it, not with grand gestures, but with the profound simplicity of devotion made visible in everyday acts. As the summer sun beams over Dallas and Crawford, George wakes at dawn, intent on beginning each day with a gesture of affection, brewing Laura's coffee exactly how she likes it, every single morning. A routine their daughter Jenna says is a reminder that it's in the little. Those same first rays see George dialing his lifelong friend and former Commerce Secretary, Donald Evans, as he's done for decades. A ritual that Laura finds hilarious, proof of George's self-deprecating humor that she adores. Between sips of coffee and morning chats, the couple often strolls the grounds of their home near SMU or the undulating hills of Prairie Chapel Ranch, hand in hand. Laura, ever the champion of literacy and women's health, keeps busy with her foundation's grants and continues responding personally to letters across the globe. George, fueled by stories told over these gatherings, heads to his studio and paints, capturing scenes at the Bush Center in his latest collection, A Shining City on the Hilltop, 35 works that reflect community, faith, and identity. Laura stands proudly by his side at exhibitions through this October. As afternoon light filters in, the Bushes shift from public engagement to private delight. Sunday jigsaw puzzle sessions in the big house at Walker's Point, built by his parents and now belonging to George and Laura, illustrate family continuity, with Laura recalling how George H.W. once taught her, people open up when they're working on puzzles. Evenings might involve watching detective shows, laughing at their own inside jokes. Like the time George accidentally dented the garage door after Laura critiqued a speech, and closing out with heartfelt conversations about books, family, and purpose. Their daughters, Barbara and Jenna, and now 5 grandchildren, Mila, Poppy, Hal, Cora Georgia, and little Edward, are woven into their stories. Jenna has disclosed how her dad teases and delights their grandkids. Mila, at 11, once asked, "Are you humiliated?" when the Secret Service caravan arrived, yet moments later teased, "You better act great or they're going to arrest you." Just one of the many playful family memories. Meanwhile, Cora Georgia, Barbara's 3-year-old, already mirrors Grandpa's artist spirit, painting alongside him and showing signs of the gentle creativity she inherited from Grandma Laura. Their shared legacy, from scion of political dynasties to pillars of community, involves deeper endeavors too. Together, they oversee the Bush Institute's work in veterans affairs, global health, women's empowerment, and freedom, each bringing strengths. Laura injects empathy and maternal wisdom, George lends leadership and moral clarity. On the occasional weekend, you might see them at a Texas Rangers game, sipping Diet Coke while discussing baseball, or George chatting sports with friends, and beers, chatting modestly about his time in office. Even in public life, their love shines softly. As he skipped a White House event honoring his mother last month, partly to honor Laura's desire to avoid political posturing, and partly to spend a quiet day with her at home. Behind every routine is a shared value: trust, humility, faith, and genuine care. With nearly 5 decades together, their love remains anchored in small acts: brewing coffee, painting together, tending to family and community, and greeting each other every morning with an enduring affection. Their story continues to bloom, with new chapters added each day in quiet love and steadfast partnership. Even as their daughters, Barbara and Jenna, grew older and began their own families, George and Laura maintained cherished traditions. One such tradition was George's daily gesture of brewing Laura's coffee just the way she liked it. This simple act became a symbol of their enduring affection and commitment to each other. Jenna Bush Hager fondly recalled this ritual, emphasizing how it's in the little things that love is sustained. Their bond was also evident in their interactions with their grandchildren. Whether it was George painting portraits for his granddaughters or the family gathering for holidays at their ranch, these moments underscored the deep familial ties and the joy they found in each other's company. Beyond their personal lives, George and Laura continued to serve the public in meaningful ways. Laura, with her background in education and literacy, spearheaded initiatives that promoted reading and supported libraries across the nation. She also became a vocal advocate for women's rights globally, using her platform to address issues such as breast cancer awareness and the plight of women in Afghanistan. George, after his presidency, focused on initiatives that supported veterans and promoted global health. Through the George W. Bush Institute, he worked on programs that assisted military personnel transitioning to civilian life and addressed health challenges in various parts of the world. As they navigated the challenges and joys of life, George and Laura's relationship remained a testament to enduring love and partnership. Their shared values, mutual respect, and unwavering support for each other formed the foundation of their bond. Whether attending public events, engaging in philanthropic endeavors, or enjoying quiet moments at home, they exemplified a relationship built on love, trust, and shared purpose. Their story continues to inspire, reminding us that true love is not just about grand gestures but also about the everyday acts of kindness, support, and understanding that sustain a lifelong partnership. Each morning still begins in quiet love. George, at 78, brews Laura's coffee exactly as she likes it, a ritual Jenna Bush Hager calls proof that it's in the little things. Then he picks up the phone to check in with his best friend, 4 decades of camaraderie with Donald L. Evans, another cherished daily tradition that Laura finds hilarious and endearing. At their Dallas home and the Prairie Chapel Ranch, midday may find Laura tending to literacy efforts or writing letters for causes dear to her heart, while George heads to his studio. His latest exhibit, A Shining City on the Hilltop, features 35 new oil paintings inspired by people and places around the Bush Center and SMU. Each canvas a tribute to faith, community, and the subtle poetry of place, on display through October 19, 2025. Afternoons are crafted from simple comforts. Jigsaw puzzles in the big house inspired by his father's insight that people open up when they're working on puzzles, lounge sessions watching British detective series, and soft laughter recalling moments like George accidentally denting the garage door after Laura critiqued a speech. Their grandchildren, Mila 11, Poppy 9, Hal 5, Cora Georgia 3, and little Edward, add warmth and whimsy to daily life. Jenna shared that Mila once asked, "Are you humiliated?" over the Secret Service tale accompanying her grandparents, and then teased, "You better act great or they're going to arrest you." Cora Georgia, inheriting Grandpa's creative spark and Grandma's gentle glow, loves making stuff. Goes to Jeef's studio with him and paints. No grandchild visit is complete without spoiling. George's precious ice cream treats, video game indulgences, and sneaky candy pickings earn him the affectionate title Jeef, while Laura's calm, grandmotherly presence, Mimi Maxwell, brings gentle grounding and joy. Their love shines brightly not just inside the home but beyond their legacy. Together, they guide the Bush Institute's global summits on women's empowerment, veterans support, public health, and education. Laura bringing empathy and grace, George contributing leadership and a painter's heart. Every evening, after long days of purpose and family, they return home. Coffee rituals passed by memory, their hands intertwined on garden patios, humor and respect flowing freely. Even at nearly 50 years of marriage, George still refers to marrying Laura as his best decision, and defines their life through the tender constancy of love, small gestures, shared faith, and mutual devotion. Each new day becomes another chapter in their unbroken story, beautifully real and ever unfolding in acts of simple, profound care. As the sun sets over their Texas homes, Dallas and Prairie Chapel Ranch, George and Laura share a moment of profound gratitude, for each other, for the life they've built, and for the love that grew from a backyard barbecue in 1977 into a lifelong partnership. Their ritual of morning coffee, his daily calls with his best friend Donald Evans, their afternoon walks, puzzle-solving evenings, and art-filled weekends, all speak to a marriage rooted in small, consistent acts of care. George's painting exhibit, A Shining City on the Hilltop, and Laura's ever-present advocacy for literacy and women's health, stand as joint expressions of their shared faith and values. Their legacy extends through their daughters and 5 grandchildren, each visit a reminder that love is both personal and generational. In the twilight of their life together, they continue to walk side by side, quiet, steady, devoted, not seeking grand moments but cherishing everyday ones, a shared laugh, a lingering hug, a gentle thank you over morning coffee. When asked what his best decision was, George never falters. Marrying Laura remains at the top. They've taught us that true love isn't about perfection or fireworks, but about choosing each other, day after day, without hesitation. And as their love story continues onward, its final lines are still being written. In soft gestures, warm embraces, and the knowledge that, even after nearly 50 years, their love feels as alive today as the day they first met. If you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and share.